Hello my friends and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sharing a super easy same-day sourdough bread recipe. The best part, you don't have to wait until the next day for that fresh warm loaf. Start this in the morning and by dinner time you will have a beautiful homemade sourdough ready to serve. So, if you're craving a delicious bread with a crunchy crust, let's feed our starter and get ready to bake. First, let's feed our starter before you go to bed. I fed mine at 9 p.m., so take 20 grams of sourdough starter and mix it with 60 grams of filtered water. Then add 57 grams of strong white flour and just 3 grams of whole wheat flour. Stir it all together until it's fully combined. Now place it in a warm spot, ideally between 78 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and let it rest overnight. By morning your starter will be nice and bubbly, ready to help our bread rise. In the morning we can get started on the dough. I'll be using my stand mixer bowl for this. First mix together 375 grams of water and 100 grams of your freshly fed starter. Mix until the starter is fully dissolved in the water. Then add 450 grams of strong white flour and 50 grams of whole wheat flour. Mix until there are no dry spots left and everything is fully incorporated. I like to use a Danish whisk for this step, so it doesn't take me a lot of time. The dough might look a little shaggy at first, but it's okay. Now cover your bowl and let it rest for 30 minutes. After the dough has rested for 30 minutes, it's time to add the salt. Add 11 grams of salt to the dough and 1 teaspoon of water over it to help it dissolve faster. I place my bowl on a stand mixer using a hook attachment and knead it until it's fully incorporated. You can also do it by hand without any problem. Knead the dough for about 5 minutes. It will be a bit sticky but smooth. We will make it stronger during the folds later. Once your dough is kneaded, I like to do a little trick. Take a small piece of dough and place it in a measurement glass and cover it. This way you can easily track how much the dough has risen as we go along. Now I will carefully transfer my dough to a smaller glass bowl to make it easier to work with. Once that's done, cover the bowl and let the dough rest in a warm spot, ideally around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. This will give the dough a chance to relax before we begin our first stretch and fold. Okay, now let's do our first stretch and fold. To start, wet your hands to prevent the dough from sticking. Gently pull a portion of the dough up, stretch it, and fold it over itself. Turn the bowl a bit and repeat this process until you've done it all the way around the dough. After that, cover the bowl again and let the dough rest in a warm place for 30 minutes before doing the next fold. We will need to do this stretch and fold 3 times. Now, after the rest, we need to repeat the same process again. Wet your hands and gently stretch and fold the dough. After that, cover the bowl and let the dough rest for another 30 minutes before doing the third and final fold. Now let's do the last third fold. Wet your hands again and gently stretch and fold the dough one last time. After that, cover the bowl and let the dough rest in a warm place for 2-3 hours or until it has doubled in size. During this time, the dough will continue to ferment and rise, becoming lighter and airier. Once the dough has doubled in size, it's time to pre-shape it. Lightly flour your dough and gently turn the dough out onto your working surface. Be careful not to deflate it too much. Now shape the dough into a round loaf by stretching and folding the edges to the center. After that, flip it over and tighten it into a smooth ball as shown in the video. Sprinkle with flour if needed to prevent stickiness. Once shaped, cover it and let it rest on the surface for 20 minutes. After the dough has rested, it's time for the final shaping. Start by sprinkling flour on top of the dough and flipping it over. Gently flatten it into a rectangle, then fold the bottom up to the center. Next, fold the right and left corners in toward the center, followed by folding the top down to the center. Then fold the right and left corners in again. Once you've done that, bring all the edges to the center. Finally, roll the dough tightly and seal the edges. Once shaped, place the dough seam side up in a floured proofing basket. Pinch the edges one more time to tighten it. Lightly flour the top again, then gently press the dough with your hands to even it out. Cover the dough and let it rest for about 3 hours depending on how warm your kitchen is. When 1 hour remains, place your Dutch oven in the oven and preheat it to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Once your dough has rested and risen, it's time to bake. Take a cutting board and a piece of parchment paper and carefully turn the dough out onto it. Since the dough is soft and not as stable as after cold proofing, we need to work quickly. I just cover my basket with parchment paper, place the cutting board on top, and flip them together. Now sprinkle the dough with flour and quickly score the top of the dough using a sharp knife or razor blade. I like to make 2 slashes and the third under the skin. Next, carefully transfer the dough into the preheated Dutch oven, cover it with the lid, and bake for 20 minutes at 500 degrees Fahrenheit. After 20 minutes, remove the lid, lower the temperature to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and bake for another 15-20 minutes, or until the bread is golden brown and sound hollow when tapped on the bottom. Once the bread is done baking, carefully remove it from the Dutch oven and transfer it to a cooling rack. Let the bread cool for at least 30 minutes before slicing. This allows the crumbs to set and ensure you get the perfect texture. And that's it, you've just baked a beautiful homemade sourdough bread. Look at this crispy crust and soft airy crumb inside. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you try it out, let me know how it turned out in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell for more delicious recipes. Thanks for watching and happy baking!